memorial right here at Orlando Health that's been growing balloons, flowers, cards, stuffed animals, so many different things. In the last few minutes, we saw a man come up. He's from Aurora, Illinois, and we're going to take a look over at his truck. He has crosses with hearts on them, and the crosses have the names of all of the victims involved in all of this. And we're walking down the sidewalk because we want to show you what he's been doing with these crosses. He's actually been taking the crosses and placing them here near the hospital. And each one of the crosses, as you can see, they're white crosses, and they have each of the victims' names. And they have these red hearts, and people have markers here where they're able to write messages. This one says, "God be with you." And this is for Leroy Valentin Fernandez. It says, "You are loved." It's the same, and it just extends down the sidewalk. He hasn't finished putting them up yet, but there are crosses for all 49 victims. Want to take another pan over here. You see the people wearing the blue shirts. They are from, they're with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. They're here. They've been out here praying for people who've gathered at the memorial near the hospital. I'm familiar with the group coming from Charlotte, and they've offered their services. They usually deploy chaplains to different disaster areas or just various tragedies, from tornadoes to incidents like these. They always respond, and they are here now praying with people who came out here to gather near the hospital. We've been standing by. We've been hearing sirens as this motorcade has moved through Orlando. As you all said, a moment with the president, with the vice president at the memorial at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. That's where they asked a lot of people to go and take their tokens and flowers and different things. A lot of people were trying to leave them down near Pulse, but this area here has become the new place for people to leave a lot of those tokens and those mementos to honor the lives of the victims in this tragedy. Again, that meeting the president had was a private meeting. You know, the White House press secretary said he wanted this to be a low-key event. He wanted it to be a moment where he could show those families, "I'm here for you. I am standing with you." As we know, the president is no stranger to speaking after events like this. He spoke after Tucson. He spoke after Newtown. He spoke after Charleston, and now Orlando. And something else to consider, the president worked very closely with Mayor Buddy Dyer's office because he said, you know, the law enforcement here are already strained, and they really wanted to make this visit something that wouldn't put more on these officers who are already physically and emotionally taxed, working around the clock. And to give you some perspective, now that we're moving around a little bit, this is Orlando Health. This is the sign here at the entrance. Just down the sidewalk, it's Pulse Nightclub, where this whole incident played out, and most of the victims were brought here to the hospital just a few blocks away, and doctors say that helped to save a lot of lives here. An update, I was just reading that right now, out of the 44 patients that were here, 23 are still admitted. The doctors here have performed more than 50 surgeries, and I believe they had 3, scheduled for today. We also had a Jacksonville man who was a victim in this shooting. He was shot 3 times. He has really been fighting in his recovery. A picture his mom sent to our page, Kelton, showed him standing today, being embraced by his family. So that was very encouraging to see Rodney Sumter Jr. taking those steps after having to have another surgery as they worked to remove debris from his body. Another Jacksonville man, Daryl Burt, sadly did not survive the attack. I spoke to a man who's from Jacksonville. He said he knew Daryl Burt. He would see him at the Yates YMCA. And he said that Daryl Burt was helping him, trying to help him understand what he needed to do to go back to school. Burt worked in the financial aid office at Kaiser University, and he said he was so touched at the interest that he took in trying to help him to get himself back into school, even though he was an older guy. And he kind of laughed about it, and he said, but that was just his nature. He was so caring, and he took up that time to really try to work with me to help me in my effort to go back to school because he valued education. But again, this memorial has continued to grow. Paintings here in the front, candles, flowers, balloons, and so many people like this man here just taking a moment to bow. Just look at this, and I'm going to pause for a moment out of respect. It's just powerful to see, and that's the kind of stuff we've been seeing the entire time this whole week, people taking those moments to just stop and pray, stop and grieve. For strangers, a lot of these people don't know the victims. They don't know the survivors, but this is something that has touched so many people. It's impacted me being here covering this story, and it's just been a very powerful display of emotion. And I know we just saw the president have his own moment with Vice President Biden there at the Dr. Phillips Center.